A registered training organisation, RTO, must ensure it complies with the registration requirements throughout the period of its registration. And RTO's obligations include maintaining compliance, issuing qualifications and statements of attainment, keeping good records management, paying relevant fees, participating in audits. We will go into each of these areas to provide practical information to support business improvement and compliance practices. Registration as an RTO under the standards for RTOs indicates that the provider complies with nationally agreed standards for the quality of training, delivery, assessment, and contributes to the community confidence in the products and services that the provider provides. To maintain compliance, you must comply at all times with the standards for registered training organisations, including the data provision, fit and proper person, and financial viability requirements. Comply with the Australian Qualifications Framework, AQF. Comply with the relevant Commonwealth, state or territory legislation and regulatory requirements. Comply with Training Accreditation Council policies and any other conditions that TAC may impose. Notify TAC of any changes to the RTO's details or changes that may affect the operations of the RTO. Provide information and cooperate with TAC when requested, monitor third-party arrangements, and implement identified improvements. RTOs are able to issue nationally recognised certificates in line with the AQF. Any qualifications or statements of attainment issued by an RTO for nationally recognised training must meet the AQF Qualifications Issuance Policy. Schedule 5 of the Standards for Registered Training Organisations, RTOs, 2015, TAC Logo Guidelines and the Nationally Recognised Training, NRT, Logo Guidelines. The TAC, NRT and AQF logos fact sheet on the TAC website provides further guidance on the use of the TAC and NRT logos. RTOs must collect and report a range of accurate and complete data about their business and operations, including total vet activity, annual declaration on compliance, learner and employer surveys as part of the quality indicators. Total vet activity, TVA, is a mandatory national reporting requirement for the RTOs to the National Centre for Vocational Education Research at least annually. TVA is the collection and reporting of data that complies with the Australian Vocational Education and Training Management Information Statistical Standard, or as it is more commonly known, a VETMIS data. The unique student identifier forms part of the RTO's VETMIS data and must be included in its TVA submission. The TVA reports for the previous calendar year are required to be submitted by the end of February. However, RTOs now have the opportunity to submit their VETMIS data quarterly if they wish to do so. Clause 8.4 of the Standards for RTOs requires RTOs to provide TAC with an annual declaration on compliance. The declaration is in relation to whether the RTO currently meets the requirements of the standards for RTOs across all its scope of registration, and if not, action taken or planned to address the non-compliance, and has met the requirements of the standards for RTOs for all AQF certification documentation issued in the last financial year. The data is due 30 September each year for the previous financial year. The Learner Engagement and Employer Satisfaction Survey data forms part of the quality indicators. The RTO administers surveys, either electronically or in hard copy, to students and employers, then collects and reports on the data directly to TAC. This data is due 30 June each year for the previous calendar year. The RTO Reporting Requirements fact sheet on the TAC website provides more information on how RTOs are to meet these reporting requirements. The standards for RTOs require the executive officers or high managerial agent of an RTO to ensure the RTO cooperates with the vet regulator in the retention, archiving, retrieval and transfer of records. RTOs are invoiced an annual fee on the anniversary date of registration. The amount charged is dependent on how many training products are on an RTO scope of registration. All fees are non-refundable and exclude GST. RTOs should check their scope of registration to prevent being charged for training products they are no longer delivering. Training products can be removed by completing an RTO2 Amendment to Scope application in the RTO portal. One of the tools utilised by vet regulators to monitor an RTO's compliance with the standards is to undertake audits. There are two categories of audits, those resulting from applications and those initiated by TAC. Audits resulting from applications are the result of applications from providers and include initial registration audits, amendment to scope audits, renewal of registration audits. When an application is received, TAC will conduct a risk assessment to determine whether an audit is necessary in line with the TAC risk framework and regulatory strategy. Audits initiated by TAC are undertaken most commonly to monitor compliance or respond to an identified risk. In some instances, an RTO will be required to undergo a monitoring audit. Monitoring audits are generally targeted audits endorsed by TAC that focus on specific training products or standards. These audits are often initiated to ensure that the actions proposed by an RTO to rectify non-compliances have been deployed, or to address particular training areas or concerns that have been raised by industry. A complaint audit can be initiated in response to a complaint. If an internal review determines that there are grounds for further investigation, or that there are potential breaches of the standards. Strategic reviews are audits that are conducted to provide an in-depth analysis of systemic issues pertaining to a specific industry area or other systemic vet issues. The consideration of risk at the local level allows WA to respond to locally or nationally identified quality issues and intervene in a timely manner. Compliance monitoring audits allow for the monitoring of compliance with the standards for RTOs as a result of non-compliances identified at previous audits, or when seeking removal of a sanction. The TAC website provides helpful information to RTOs to build the capability and understanding of RTOs and their staff to meet their obligations in regard to the standards. TAC's Education Program section of the website provides a range of support and guidance material, including the User's Guide to the Standards for RTOs, fact sheets, PD opportunities, recordings and resources, FAQ and podcasts. The TAC RTO portal is a convenient way for RTOs to access their details. The portal is a direct link to TAC's data system. Through the portal, an RTO can view registration details with TAC, including contact details, scope of registration, and delivery profile. RTOs can also use the portal to submit online applications. RTOs should also sign up to the TAC newsletter, which provides monthly up-to-date information on what is happening in the vet sector. Further information on RTO obligations and audits is available under the Registration tab. You can find all of TAC's policies and guidelines on the website tac.wa.gov.au. If you can't find what you're looking for or would like to discuss any aspect of your obligations as an RTO, please contact the TAC Secretariat on 9224 6510 or via email tac@dtwd.wa.gov.au.